Good morning, good morning. Today I'm going to show you a quick recipe on how to make your own DIY soft scrub. It is another one of these that I feel really guilty even teaching you because it is so simple, but it can save you a lot of money, and if you're trying to have a clean home without using so many toxins, then maybe this will be useful to you. Alright, this is one that doesn't take an awful lot. I don't make a large batch of it at a time. I just think it's easier to make it fresh or as needed versus keeping it sitting around. So that's number one. I will say this, there are some swaps that can be made, and I'll walk you through those. However, there are some things that can't be changed. So first, let me just give you the basic overall recipe. I'm only making one that will fill this cup jar. It's important that whatever container you place it in does have a proper seal on it because, as I said, you don't want it to dry out. So for this recipe, we're using 3/4 cups of baking soda, 1/4 cup of Castile soap. That is what cannot be swapped out. It has to be Castile soap. It doesn't have to be this brand. It could be Dr. Bronner's. If you prefer something a little bit stronger that also falls in the Castile soap family, there's a thing called Sal's Suds. I believe they're made by the same company as Dr. Bronner, but a lot of people say that if you use that, the cleansing power is a little bit stronger than if you just use regular Castile soap. So we're gonna have 3/4 cup of baking soda, 1/4 cup of Castile soap, 1 tablespoon of hydrogen peroxide, and 10 to 15 drops. You can even go as far as 20 drops if you prefer of your essential oil. Now, baking soda is a must. So make sure that it can be Arm & Hammer's or anybody's baking soda. That's a must. Like I said, the Castile soap cannot be swapped. I have tried it, just so you know, using just washing up liquid. It does not work the same way. So don't waste your time and the products by trying to make it with regular dish detergent. If you don't have Castile soap, wait until you have some to make it. Otherwise, you're going to be incredibly disappointed, and then you're going to want to blame me for like using the wrong stuff. But that's not the case, okay? Essential oils, we've talked before, and you can use, kind of depend on you and the fragrance that you want. If you like peppermint and rosemary, which is what I did for the blue stuff that I made for the bathroom, that's got a great scent, and they're also naturally antibacterial, so that's fine. For this case, I'm actually using a combination of peppermint and cinnamon, because peppermint is great for being antibacterial, but cinnamon is fantastic for being antiviral. And if your house is going to be closed up and you're trying to clean but keep germs and colds and flus at bay, then this combination will work really well. The final thing that I was saying about the tablespoon of hydrogen peroxide. I use peroxide because I like the extra cleaning boost. If you've ever used Oxy products and you've been amazed at how well it cleans, that's why I'm adding the hydrogen peroxide. I've seen recipes where people use water instead, and if that's the way that you want to roll, that's fine. I just think that this boosts the cleaning power, and I'm going for something that is easy to make but also is going to work. If you don't want to use hydrogen peroxide and you think, well, water is just kind of lame, you can also swap out, ta-da, hydrosol. Hydrosol is the water that comes from the distillation process of when essential oils are being made. In this case, I actually have sandalwood. Sandalwood does have some natural antibacterial abilities, so this swapped out instead of water or hydrogen peroxide can be doable, but like I said, hydrogen peroxide is a big daddy for the cleaning stuff. It's really just this simple. We're going to put 3/4 of a cup of baking soda in here. So that is 3/4 cup of baking soda. Here is my 1/4 cup of Castile soap. And what I like to do is pour half of it in and begin to mix it. These are just craft or popsicle sticks because I want to be able to judge how the mix is going. And if you do it slowly, just bit by bit, you make sure the baking soda gets incorporated in. And if you prefer, you can mix it into a bigger bowl. To be, as we say, I can't be arsed. I really just want to mix it in the thing and use it. So I'm just doing it in the jar. And fortunately, I do have enough room in the top of this jar. And this is a wide mouth jar, so it's going to make it a lot easier for me to scoop out when I use it as well. So just continue with that. More smooth and evenly incorporated. Got a little bit more. So, okay, now I'm going to add in my tablespoon of peroxide. Dribble this in. You know the peroxide is going to bubble, and when it hits the baking soda, it's going to bubble even more so. So again, I'm going to measure it out, but I'm actually going to pour it in to the Castile jar that I just had a minute ago. I want to add a little bit at a time so it doesn't all bubble up and make a tremendous mess. And that's fantastic because now the bits that I had in the bottom that were still a bit dry are now starting to smooth out really well. And that is what you need. You really want a good consistency for your soft scrub. Now you will see that's what it's looking like. I still have enough room in the jar. So the final thing I'm going to add are my essential oils. But if you can see from the bottom, everything is incorporated. I don't have those sticky spots where there's a clump of baking soda in. You just want everything to be pretty much smooth. And you know, it's not going to take that long to do it. It's just one of those things where you need a little bit of patience. Some people want everything to come together very, very quickly, and it is going to take a couple of minutes. You'll be able to feel, because you can feel how the stick would drag in the bottom if there was a lot of baking soda still left in clumps. So, now, I generally, essential oils do come with the Euro droppers. I really hate those, and I don't find, sometimes things get stuck. They're just annoying. So I have pipettes just to measure out my oils, and because I don't want to cross-contaminate, I have a different one for each one. This one is for the antiviral cinnamon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to do for that. And then I'm going to mix that in just to make sure that goes through. Oh, that smells good. And now, oh, I did leave the Euro dropper on this one, so I can just do 10 for this. Okay. Or I can't, which is why I hate Euro droppers. That is exactly my point. It can be a little wonky. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And as I said, the peppermint is because it's naturally antibacterial. But if you want to use other things, just a real quick list. If you would like to use for their antibacterial properties, you can use Bay Laurel, chamomile, citronella, cypress, ginger, juniper, lemongrass, lime, orange, pine, rosemary, sage, sandalwood, or spearmint. Antiviral properties, you can use cinnamon and clove. I use cinnamon. And then there are oils that cross both and have both antibacterial and antiviral properties, and those are your lavender, lemon, tea tree, and thyme. Combining the antiviral properties of cinnamon and the antibacterial from mint, I thought would be a good mix. And that is it. If I used it on here, because Sarah, lovely Sarah from Hinchin in the USA, sent me her version of a minky, then this will work. All you have to do is take a little bit on. Now the only surfaces you cannot use this on, don't use it on wood that has not been treated or porous surfaces. Same goes with marble or granite. But for just cleaning up other things like, let's see, let's go to my stovetop here. Because I am a messy marble, you can use that. And then of course you would have to wipe it down. Okay, let's do a thorough job. Okay, so you can wipe it down for all of that. You do want to make sure that, and you just want to make sure that you do, if you're doing it with a minky or a sponge, that you use one side to kind of scrub it off and the other side just to get a nice clean wiped off finish, or even wipe down with water after you're done so that you get everything, all the residue off, but then you're left with the lovely cinnamon fragrance or whatever fragrance that you've used at the time. So that is it. Is that you're going to put it into a pot or a jar or something that does have a tight fitting lid, because otherwise it will dry out and get gunky. But if you're doing it in a small enough, like a 1 cup measurement, that's more than enough to do your bathroom, probably your kitchen several times over. And then as it finishes out, or as it may get drier a little bit at the bottom, then you can just simply make another batch. Realize what a savings it is. And it's stuff that's generally already going to be around your house. And if Castile soap is not already around your house, then it really needs to be, because it is one of those things that if you're going to start getting the toxins out of your home and you're going to start making your own cleansers, Castile soap is invaluable. Now, it can be expensive. Maybe the best price available is at your local store like Sprouts, or maybe you have a health food store that has deals on it. Or look for Amazon to see if there are people that sell bulk packs of it and then buy it then. But generally speaking, for use in creating other cleansers, you're not really going to need that much of it. So it's fantastic to have on hand. It's general enough to use on your house. It's going to be safe around kids and around pets. So I do recommend it's something that you keep in your larder. So if you are going to start into a healthier, more holistic way of cleaning your home, that is available to you. If you are looking just to start on creating your own products for cleaning your home, must-haves are definitely white vinegar, baking soda, Castile soap. And if you have essential oils on hand, even if you just want to start with one or two. If you're only going to start with one or two, then I would have to say lavender, because as a great antibacterial and antiviral, and the fact that it smells so lovely is a great one. But also tea tree, because if you're trying to fight cold and flu germs, especially as we get more enclosed in the winter and you've got kids sniffing and snorting, it is a lot. It's fantastic for killing everything. They've actually shown that at a 5% concentration in hospitals, it will kill even MRSA. Just make sure with the essential oils that you do keep them out of anywhere where there are changes of light. You do not want to keep them in direct sunlight. You want to make sure that all of your bottles are tightly sealed at all times, and generally they should be in tinted bottles, so please make sure that they are. And if you can, make sure that you're also keeping them out of areas where there's a radical temperature change. Don't buy an essential oil and then put it in your bathroom medicine cabinet because you think, oh, if I see it there, I will use it. Yes, you might, but it will degrade, and that's because of the temperature change as well as the humidity change that happens in a bathroom situation. But if you keep them out of direct sunlight, somewhere where the temperature is relatively stable and tightly sealed, then you will have keep an eye on dates, because things like cinnamon and peppermint will last you a good deal longer, but when you're dealing with something like a lemon essential oil or a citrus essential oil, most of those are best used within 6 to 12 months. So please don't keep those around for 3 years and then say, hey, I found this in the back of the cabinet, I wonder if it's good to use. When it becomes too old or it changes color, if your lemon oil goes from yellow to kind of brownish looking, you're not going to want to use that on people, definitely. And that's usually what happens when people get essential oils. They forget about them, then they decide they want to use them on themselves or on their children. They don't dilute them, and they're not using them by their best sell-by date. That's when people start getting rashes and other issues and then say, oh, those essential oils, man, I used them once and I came up with some horrible rash and I blame them. No. Blame yourself because you didn't use them correctly. So that is it for the day. I will be back on Instagram later today. I will put the recipe again, as well as the oils used, as well as what the cost breakout becomes. And then I will edit this video substantially from the beginning where I was making big old mess, and then place it on YouTube so you can access it there. I'll be back on Friday. We'll talk about health news that you can use. It's Health Focus Friday. We talk about all the things that have gone on in the media about health and wellness and discuss how you can apply that to your overall general good health and education. So that is it. You are welcome. So if anybody makes this, please hit me up. I would like to know what your experiences are. I would like to know whether you decided to swap out peroxide for water, or probably swap out water for a hydrosol to see the benefits of that. I'd like to know whether you went ahead and used peppermint and cinnamon because that's what I just used here, or whether you decided to use something fantastic like pine because it reminds you of or outdoors in, especially as we're getting closer to the holiday season. And that's it. Have a great day. Remember, wherever you go, whatever you do, just try and be better people.